Yo, 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 yo. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? It's Game Changer Weekly. We're in the building. It's Righteous Reg. Today, I got a special guest, the producer, homie. He was here last time, too, but he's in the building today. Mike, what's goody? What's going on?
Just letting my mind recover from back-to-back weekend of deathmatch wrestling and insanity.
GCW said, you guys know deathmatch wrestling. Here's a million of it. So today we are here to talk about all of it. It's been a pretty eventful weekend. I just caught up with the shows again earlier today, and people were saying on Twitter that these were two of the best shows that GCW has had in a while. Like, these are two of the best shows of the year, two of the best shows GCW's ever had, honestly, back to back, with what they did with the tournament, the non-tournament matches, and just everything that was pretty much involved in it. So yeah, GCW knocked it all the way out of the park this weekend with Tournament of Survival. That cage match to top it all off was, death match infamy, death match, everything you would expect this out of deathmatch wrestling. You pretty much got it this weekend. So it's lit. We about to talk about all that. Game Changer Wrestling has been pretty fucking busy. Last week I was out in Las Vegas, Nevada for some events, and GCW had an event, GCW Downward Spiral. Action-packed event. GCW brought all your favorites down to Las Vegas. Everybody was drunk and high and hot, and it was an adventure. Mike, I have to, when I go to GCW events now, it's more than just like I'm there as a fan. Now it's like I know wrestlers, I know, like, I'm making business deals. So there was
Media
a lot
man.
there. Media man, you know what's up. There was a lot going on in Vegas. We had all been drinking for so long. I'm like, I have to, like, think in my mind that I have business to conduct when I get here to this show. I have to watch the show. I have to pay attention to all these things going on. Then I get there and Rich Swan's there and Willie Mack's there, and just threw my whole plan off. I'm like, oh, these guys are the best. I have to talk and make it happen. But it was pretty much a lot of that, a lot of networking, a lot of getting with the GCW alum to have a great time. There was some Bay Area people there too. How was the Downward Spiral show as a viewer from the outside for you?
It came across on TV really good. As far as that whole like Vegas collective that happened, because there was they had the Silver Nugget with like three other promotions.
Yep.
For a bunch of shows, and like
the Revolver, a couple different people.
The GCW one was by far, like, just from looking at it on screen, looked the most packed out of the whole weekend. The crowd was hot as fuck. Like, everything sounded good. It looked really good. The commentary was rotating in and out a lot. So had Kevin Gill through most of it, some Veda Scott on commentary. The main event, the tag team deathmatch, Drew Parker actually hopped on and did the commentary for that. So that was really cool, because he had like he got that unfortunate gash on his leg at VXS. Because Cole Radrick was supposed that tag match at the end of Downward Spiral. John Wayne Murdoch and Alex Colon were supposed to be facing Rina Yamashita and Drew Parker.
Right.
But so Cole replaced him, and he hopped on commentary, and just his, like, in his own knowledge and mastery of deathmatch wrestling just made, like, the commentary, everything, it added like more layers to watching the tag match, as opposed to just like, here's a deathmatch tag match. It's like you get this Drew Parker inside baseball kind of happening on commentary throughout it, which for those of you who are like, deathmatch wrestling is just mud show bullshit, like, watch a match when it's being commentated by one of the best in the world at it, and like, you'll understand there's levels to deathmatch wrestling. It could be, but it could also be beautiful art.
Right. Yes. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is just fucking straight up violence. Yeah, we can all admit it. Like, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. There's just people going crazy. But when you get someone who's an artist like Drew Parker, who's an artist like Nick Gage, when Nick Gage is on commentary for these death matches, giving his insight, like, you get it from a different perspective of just a bunch of guys hitting each other with light tubes and barbed wire. So Drew Parker had an unfortunate injury, and so that's great that you got to and the fans got to hear him from his side of the deathmatch thing to be able to commentate that. That's super dope. We're gonna get into Drew Parker very soon here, but yeah, this Vegas show, they had a bunch of incredible matches. Speedball Mike Bailey, I mean, dude, like, what more can I can't put him over on more podcasts. I've already put him over the hardest you could ever put somebody on. Wrestler of the year in a world that Bryan Danielson exists in, and he is the guy. Every time he has a match, it's the best match on the card, no matter what the fuck is going on. Here, no fucking different. Las Vegas hometown representation. My homeboy Chris Bay was here in attendance to wrestle Mike Bailey, and these guys just did everything you would expect them to do. Chris Bay's the flyest, finessing, doing all the shit that makes him great. Speedball Mike Bailey is, I can't even come up with any more words to how incredible this run he's been on since he came back to America and has been shutting everything down. This match was incredible. There were some points that I screamed out loud. So
I thought Chris Bay, he hit, I don't know if it was like a Tiger Driver or something hit him with, but I thought he fucking killed. I thought he fucking
Tiger
killed
Driver.
him.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one where Speedball he got caught in that like tree of woe too, like his leg super bent.
It was scary.
He's got superpowers. Like he just walked away from that, went and wrestled again. He's wrestling again the next weekend.
He probably wrestled 3 times that same night. Dude just never fucking stops. And
the next day, actually, he would have. The next day, he would have gone to Prestige and wrestled.
He 100% wrestled the next day and killed it again. Yeah. So these two guys together, I'd like to see them wrestle 500, maybe 10,000 more times, because chemistry is. I mean, Mike Bailey has chemistry with every single wrestler that he gets in the ring with, and Chris Bay is just incredible against any opponent in the world. So you get two personalities like that together, and you have this incredible match. I was fucking blown away, man. I had to go back. That was one I had like go back and like really watch, and I was like, yo, this is like the amount of things, little things that both these guys did in this match just like makes me so happy, man. I fucking love seeing Speedball Mike Bailey anywhere, and I love seeing Chris Bay shine, not just in Impact Wrestling, but anywhere he fucking wrestles, man. And in Las Vegas, like, you can't get a better place to showcase these two guys, right?
I tweeted that this match went on my match of the year list when they put the match graphic out.
Yeah,
like they didn't need to, like, you already knew what was going to happen. No, it's like what you're saying about Mike Bailey though. Like you could put him in there with anyone, and I think he's going to at least pull a 4-star match out of it.
At minimum.
Like it's inanimate objects he could go in there with.
Seriously. Yeah. I still want to know what you've been drinking over there in Canada, what's in the water. I want to know what
it's not available where I live. Cause like,
you don't got the Speedball water supply over there.
No, I can't do that shit.
This is absolutely crazy, not. Man. I mean, I know like Canadian wrestlers have, for a long time been some of the best, but Jesus, this is insane, man.
Yeah.
This is
we got Bret Hart, Chris Jericho.
I mean, Kenny
Omega, Speedball Mike Bailey. There's a lot of people up here that have not made it down to the United States yet. That like when that happens,
shout out to my homies at C4 Wrestling. They'll get pissed if I don't say. I think his name's Junior Benito.
Benito is one of those people.
Incredible when he gets down here. Dude, y'all are gonna see.
He had a crazy match with Jeff Cobb last month.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Speaking of tag matches, anytime that Gringo Loco and ASF get together in a tag match together against each other, a 6-man, a 25-man match, it's gonna be nuts. And the two that they faced have developed a very tight bond, a brotherly bond almost at this point. Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne. You could see anytime that Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne are in a match. You saw it on display here at one point. Gringo disrespected Nick Wayne. Well, what Jordan Oliver thought, and Jordan Oliver made him pay for it. He's like, yo, that's my little brother. Don't Don't disrespect him. It was on display here. Gringo and ASF do things that I can't believe, honestly. Like, I don't know how ASF gets that high in the air when he does things, and how he can be launched so high and catch you in a Hurricane Rana out of any point of the world, but he does it. And so these guys really went to war here in Las Vegas. It was probably my most anticipated match of the show, just because I love Gringo Loco, man. Like, I don't know what it is
He's God.
about. I just, fucking, I love Hurricane Ranas and flips and shit. And everybody knows I love flips. And like, bro, flips is crazy. And his finish, that fucking spin around, sit out, power bomb off the rope is fucking crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, ASF, he's, he had a really good trainer. Yes, he's trained by Laredo Kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That puts all the pieces together now.
Yeah, I did an interview with him before GCW at the Hammerstein, like in the lead up to that, because
Nice.
he was in the Lucha Trios match,
Mm-hmm.
and like him and Gringo Loco, like literally, he said that that's someone he wants to work with in the ring, like as either as a teammate or against him for the rest of his life. That he
That's
like
awesome.
they want to be like, he wants to forever be involved with, like they want to be involved with each other, and the chemistry they have, like as teammates and opponents, like because you've seen they've done both so much in GCW, right, that like you can see how much it's developed even over the last year. And now you put them on a team together, and they're literally like an extension of each other's body. And then Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver are actually kind of building that same chemistry already. It's such like an early, I guess, an early length in the relationship of their tag team.
Yeah.
But it's like they've been teaming with each other for the whole time already.
It's crazy the chemistry that they have. Yeah, I just like, two people are just like, when these two guys got together, you were like, oh yeah, that works out perfectly for some reason. And they just
it seems like an absolute no-brainer.
Right. It was I love seeing Nick Wayne. He has a huge, as we talked about, a huge match. His dream match is number one on his list. Dream match is coming up against Will Ospreay very soon. So he's been just on the grinding, working for that. And that match is going to be amazing. That's coming up soon. We're going to talk about that too. Connected to the shows this weekend was another guy that's been having a great run in GCW. Blake Christian had a match with Matt Cardona out in Las Vegas. And apparently Matt Cardona got hurt during this whole thing. Matt Cardona, GCW, they told you that they don't fuck around over here. They told you every single time you said something about GCW, they say, we don't fuck around here. Shit's real. And here you go, dude. The shit got real. You got hurt. You're out. And it's just a shame, right?
Unsafe worker Blake Christian injured Matt Cardona. Oh man, this was funny though, because like when they put the match graphic out for this, I was like, Matt Cardona is gonna be he's gonna be blown up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, you do. The pace that Blake Christian runs at, you can't, man. You can't. Even guys that can go are blown up in the ring with Blake Christian. So like, yo, a million miles per hour, man. I fucking love it.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite style of wrestling is like the gas pedal is to the floor from the time the bell rings until the final bell.
That's why those matches that Blake had with Leo Rush were just like, yo, what the fuck? 100 back to back to back to back to back.
You want to talk about Speedball too? Like Blake and Speedball in January I still think that's my favorite match this year, and that was back in January, and I've seen how much shit since then.
Right. Yeah, fucking Blake, Speedball, y'all are killing it. Shout out to Blake Christian. Keep doing it, man. Like you could ride into something else now that Matt Cardona is going to be out. So yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did. It kind of did after Sunday. So
Let's go, baby. Yeah,
After
but
that,
the rest of the Vegas card, there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to go match by match, but
yeah,
there was some fun stuff with Effie and my friend Dark Sheik. There was like a lot of great wrestling on here. You want to check out that Las Vegas card, pull it up, Fight TV, get you a copy. But I want to get into what happened this weekend, man. There was just so much incredible deathmatch wrestling. I was thinking when I ran this back today that there's not a lot of tournaments where every single participant in the tournament gets over. Like usually when there's a tournament, you're like, there's one or two people that I know are gonna really get over. Some of them might be able to pull it off, but not every single wrestler. I felt like this tournament this weekend, every single person that was in it came out better looking on a like higher level than what they did. Even if they only had one match, they still knocked it out of the park. Just like every single person in this tournament just up their stock up so high after what they did in the ring this weekend. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Like that. And just even looking at the field, like normally when you see a tournament bracket, you're like, there's like an obvious one or two choices of like that's probably the finals, like we see, we saw it with like, some tournaments on TV recently and stuff.
Right.
But you look at the 8 participants here and you're like, okay, this is a pretty open field because there you could make a case for any single person here. Drew Parker did stick out to me because like I know they've been waiting a lot. I don't
he's
think
on the trajectory for a while. He's been on it.
He hasn't wrestled in GCW since Homecoming last summer.
Mm-hmm.
He wrestled like night 1 and won the ultraviolent title and then dropped it on night 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or I got that backwards probably. But so he hasn't been like in North America for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, like, I had a feeling he'd probably have a deep run, but like really Matt Tremont's never won it. So like would have, could have
been anybody.
His year,
Yeah, people were
everybody
saying
has a shot
Hoodfoot,
there.
my homie Hoodfoot had a match. People are like, this could be Hoodfoot's year. He was eliminated in the first round, but like anybody was up for winning this whole tournament pretty much.
He's made such a cool splash in GCW too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he debuted in GCW only a few months ago in a main event match too.
Yep.
And like he's every time he shows up, it's like I feel like he's been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
He fits right in with everybody else.
Like, and it's funny because me, I focus on Black Wrestling. Black Wrestling's 500. That's coming out very soon. Actually, I should probably start super working on that now that I say that out loud. But yeah, I focus on Black wrestlers, and there's not a lot of Black wrestlers in deathmatch wrestling. That's just not a big thing. You know what I mean? There's like a handful of them. Shout out to Phoenix Kids. Shout out to AJ Gray, who's done some, and Hoodfoot just came along and kind of bust through the door, being like, "Here I am. I'm with some of the baddest fucking deathmatch wrestlers in the world, and I can do it." And GCW fans have recognized that, and they've attached to Hoodfoot, which is super dope and incredible.
Yeah, he had a good first round match too with Rena.
He did that pretty much kicked off the whole thing. They Rena just was also a big star of this whole weekend. Pretty much everything that she was involved in was crazy. She started off, I like that little trick that she did to him, having him take the bump, and then she pinned him immediately in the light tubes. I loved it. It was a great trick. But there was in every single match, there was some new and innovative ways that light tubes were utilized. And this was brutal, man. Just from the rip, like everything that they were doing was fucking brutal, man. I had some moments of like, yo, and so
yeah, I feel like I'm finally like fully desensitized to death matches, but like getting like 7 death matches back to back in one day was like, oh man, there's a lot. But like Rena got him up for the fall or the crucifix power bomb at the end. Holy shit.
Yeah.
She's like Hoodfoot's not a small human.
No,
She
not at
so
all.
like that's some scary strength.
Yeah. Yeah. She ended up getting the victory here, and it was a surprise. It was a surprise to me. It was a surprise to a lot of people on the timeline. It was a surprise to many. But she, what she ended up doing, like it made sense at the end.
It was a tough one to call, honestly, because
Yeah.
like Hoodfoot, is like the GCW, like he's a mainstay there, I'd say now.
Yes.
And I thought, there's a good chance he goes on. But then Reno also coming in from overseas, it's like probably going to want her in more than one match. So that's
Exactly.
why I was,
Right.
there. Either way,
It's
I
hard.
think this one was like a you're happy no matter who wins kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Next up, there was Deathmatch legend. Matt Tremont was here to bring his form of violence. You know what that entails. There's going to be a lot of blood, probably mostly from him. Usually, how it works. And he was against a independent wrestling favorite, Slade, who doesn't give a fuck about nothing. So this match was intriguing from the jump because it's going to take a lot to put down either one of these guys.
I'm like actually scared of Slade.
I'm saying, but
most wrestlers, I'm like, okay, I'm sure he's a really nice guy, goes home to his family, he's making bacon and eggs on Saturday, Saturday morning or something. Slade, I'm convinced, has death matches and then will go out and like look for people to have death matches with.
Right.
Like, it just on the street.
Like I feel like after this show, he went to the bar and he had another death match. Same gear. He didn't take a shower after the match. He just like walked from the ring to the bar, and it was round 2, and it was just a normal Saturday for him.
This match was crazy.
Yeah,
like
it's funny because I'm looking at the times now, and I'm like, it's crazy how much violence these guys can put into fucking 5 minutes.
But this match wasn't even 6 minutes long, and Matt Tremont got like he was covered in blood,
gushing.
He was as much blood as anyone else from the first round that went like double this length or more, and he like these guys just went straight for it, just glass everywhere. It was fucked.
It was disgusting. How do you? It's crazy, like this whole format of a deathmatch tournament, because it's like after that should be it, Matt Tremont, and he's like, no, I have more, dude. I'm gonna do this again, like very soon, in a few minutes, honestly. And it's like, yo, like respect. Let's just stop the show right now. Respect 1,000,000% to all deathmatch wrestlers. What you guys fucking did this weekend, what you do every weekend, is fucking art, man. Like no one can do it like y'all do it. No one can put together a crazy show of violence and spots and glass and barbed wire and fire and all these things and make it look really cool. You guys did it in a fucking tournament for 2 days. So just legit hats off to all deathmatch wrestlers. Y'all are fucking pro wrestlers. No one can tell you any different. It's all the same. We're all living the same thing, and y'all are fucking doing it, putting your body on the line even further than anybody should ever push it. So shout out to y'all for fucking doing this tournament. I just want to leave that there because I wouldn't do it. So just the fact that y'all put it on the line for a bunch of fans who want it is amazing.
Yeah. Multiple matches in a day too. Like that's
where matches in one day.
That's where my brain starts going. Like people are on another level to like have the strength in their bodies to one, wrestle multiple matches a day, but then two, sustain these kind of injuries and go through this kind of like trauma to the body up to if you're going to the finals of Tournament of Survival, that's 3 matches. And it's not even like across a day thing. This was like a 4-hour show.
Mm-hmm.
So, goddamn.
That is, and
Tip of
it's
the
not
hat to
like,
all of
yeah,
you.
like all the matches are, you're gonna get hurt. It's not like one match you're gonna be like, oh, this one will be not as bad as the last. No, the next one's gonna be worse than the last. You're
Yeah,
gonna
like spoiler alert, Matt Tremont made it to the finals of this tournament. And like the first match of the day, he was all sorts of fucked up already.
right. When the final started, he was it already looked like he had been in fucking 2 death matches, and it looks like
Yeah. Yeah, he was like covered in fresh blood, dried blood, in between blood,
other
like
people's blood. There's blood
not his
everywhere,
own.
man.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Shout out to Matt Tremont. Wasn't he just retired for a while? And he said, fuck all that shit. He came back and fucking tore it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he also had and then he was out of commission for a while too, because he had the match with Anita.
Oh, that's right.
And he
The
got
Onita shit. Yeah.
fucking burnt pretty
Yeah,
bad in that. Like pretty scary, honestly. Like
Mhm.
watching it back. It's a miracle he's alive.
Mhm.
But and still just going out there and destroying it.
He fucking did it, man. Fucking beautiful. Shane Mercer was out there against Segura. This match was awesome. Anytime you see Shane Mercer using his innovative offense in a death match, it's cool. At one point, he put light tubes down the back of his tights and slammed them. He was doing all kind of flips and shit. And this was some violence. I liked it a lot. I liked everything. I liked the innovative ways that both guys were utilizing everything. What'd you think about it?
This one was really cool. Like I always get excited for a Shane Mercer match because
Yep.
it's like you said, his offense is just he's like freakishly strong, but then also insane and like just has insane agility for a man his size. So he's like moonsault fall away slamming people, and like the moonsault tombstone he did a while back is like some of the craziest shit ever. You know, he's putting tubes down Segura's shorts and just, you know, slamming
I was
them
gonna
all over
say
the
he's
place.
Scott Steiner on drugs, but I think Scott Steiner was already on drugs. So
yeah, no, he's like Scott Steiner on Focus.
Yeah, there you
Like
go.
like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Laser beam Scott Steiner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the one for sure.
Yeah.
But also like ToS Segura, I'm not like a deathmatch aficionado. I don't
Right.
watch Freedoms or Big Japan really.
Same here.
So this was the first time I'd ever seen ToS Segura in a GCW ring. It was really fucking cool. Like you can like actually see the more story driven deathmatch style from Japan coming over. There was a lot of like, you know, like wrestling happening and then just, you know, weaving it between setting up light tubes and stuff for you know, the big spots. That hula hoop thing was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2 hula hoops with light tubes all around them,
Right?
like a just a barrel of pain.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
he ended up being involved in legit one of my favorite matches of the weekend. The tag match from the next night was I can't even.
crazy.
I don't even. We'll get to that very soon.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, next up was eventual. You guys know the score. Eventual winner of this shit, Drew Parker, came in against Cole Radrick, who I put over very highly in the last podcast. Here was some very innovative shit. Cole Radrick has been weaving his way into the deathmatch scene. Like each deathmatch performance he has, he grows his legend higher. And I think what he did here was another notch on his deathmatch belt to show that he's really not fucking around, man.
Yeah, so like Cole Radrick got the unfortunate first round match against Drew Parker, which like honestly, I had Cole Radrick and Drew before they announced the first round matchups. I actually had Cole Radrick and Drew Parker as the finals for the tournament because I thought it would have been super cool for like, you know, deathmatch novice Cole Radrick to like, you know, fight his way through a brutal field and then come up against like the deathmatch legend of Drew Parker. Who I think Drew Parker is the best deathmatch wrestler that I've ever watched in terms of just his athletic ability, wrestling, like actual wrestling skills, and then just the deathmatch insanity that he weaves throughout all of it. This was probably one of my favorite matches of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first round matchup of Tournament of Survival, but these guys had probably my favorite death match that I've seen since I got myself back into wrestling in the last couple of years. It's awesome. This was just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The high risk everything. Both guys are have that high flying, caution to the wind style with everything they do. So and then adding all of this broken glass and fuckery to it, just
there's spots without the broken glass is insane, but then you add in broken glass to all their crazy shit, and it's just
yeah. Like the finish for this one, Cole Radrick getting headbutted off of the ladder and then falling through the door, and then Drew Parker just hits him with a swanton off the top of a ladder.
Parker was swantoning from all types of high crazy ass places this whole weekend, man. He really had something to prove, man. I love that he knew that this tournament was going to be his, and he brought every single thing to show you this is why. After it was over, you were like, oh yeah, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, because like we said, spoiler alert, Drew Parker won the tournament, but when we got to the finals and it was Parker and Tremont, I was genuinely like, oh, this is Matt Tremont's time to finally win ToS.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to beat the best up and coming, the best young deathmatch wrestler going right now in Drew Parker. That's what I thought and then it was totally the opposite. But having seen everything Drew Parker did throughout the tournament, it made
sense.
You don't feel like Matt Tremont got robbed of his ToS win.
No, you did.
There's a reason Drew Parker's the king of the deathmatch.
Definitely. He showed it here.
It's look at everything he did in round 1 with Cole Radrick, round 2 with Rena. I guess we can talk about that match.
Yeah, definitely.
My God.
Yeah, he was the darts in everyone's back, the darts in everyone's.
that's the one I'm still. I'm not fully desensitized. Okay, darts.
That's what did it, huh?
Darts and sometimes he'll do a skewer through the
dude.
cheek spot.
The thing that he did with the fucking dart and the fin and the finals through his both cheeks, and he held it was in there for long time.
Those ones are still tough for me. I think I'd purge those until you brought it up, and then it kickstarted some.
No, that's his weapon of choice. Fucking darts, sharp darts in your back. That's who thinks of this shit, man. This is crazy. Darts, Drew Parker. What the fuck, Parker? Man?
I think it's the English thing. It was pub night one night.
Yeah, no, I get it. It makes sense. You put it together.
Boy, wouldn't it be cool if I just threw this at someone instead of a dartboard?
Gross, but I love it. We love it. People fucking were bloodthirsty for it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the other semifinal match between Tremont and Segura, that was crazy good too.
Yeah. I think like I said, every match just fucking up the next one. It just showed the last one wasn't shit. You're like, damn, that was crazy. And then the next match comes up, you're like, oh my God, that was insane. How do you keep fucking doing this for 3 matches? And Matt and Drew fucking did it. Another great part of this weekend were the Scramble matches. The Scramble match on fucking night 2 to start the show was one of the people were saying this one of the craziest Scramble matches legit of all time. There was so much fucking action throughout, from ding ding ding, it was lit. This match was only 11 minutes, and it was 11 minutes of fire. I loved AJ Gray's facials and the AJ Gray's facials when he's chopping and forearming everyone in the match, just being like, you guys can't stop doing this. Stop trying to go against me with this. And then they come in again and he do it, and he do a face that was just so fucking hilarious. The interactions, I've been wanting to see more of Speedball and AJ, and they fucking were beating each other's ass. Speedball did his
Has
shooting star knees onto like 3 or 4 guys.
pile of
And
people.
it was, Jimmy Lloyd was there on fire. I like seeing Jimmy Lloyd in this kind of like not deathmatch element where he's just like one of those in the scramble guys, because he always brings out some really dope and innovative moves that are just like, he's not going to do them in deathmatch because somebody might die, but like when we're just here in a regular match, I'm about to bust out some crazy shit, and I love seeing him in that element, man.
Jimmy Lloyd wrestling like like a fast paced, like, modern indie, whatever you want to call it, like the current modern indie style match,
Right.
like that fast paced go go go. Jimmy Lloyd's awesome at that. He's
He's
like
the best.
he's a Swiss Army knife. He he's kind of got that like Tony Deppen quality with me in terms of GCW, where like if somebody's coming there for the first time and you don't know how they're going to shape up with the roster, and you just you want to put them with someone who they can go in there and have a good match without with minimal time to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Lloyd's
the one. Send him in. He's gonna knock it out of the park every time.
GCW does scrambles like I don't know. There's something about a GCW scramble that like for some reason seems just crazier to me than most other times. And I don't know if it's just the GCW factor of it.
Yeah, scramble matches and other promotions don't be hitting like they hit in GCW. I agree. I don't know what happens when they say this is a GCW scramble that everyone just turns into fucking super saying themselves, but like these matches on both nights were that, just like, here are the guys that aren't in the death matches this week, they're here and fucking go for it. And they went for it. Like, shout out to Sawyer Wreck, man. She was in the first match, the first scramble, and then the next night in a really super insanely fun match with Joey Janela. Like,
star-making performance for Sawyer Wreck. Like
one of the there was a death match and there was crazy spots, but one of the coolest spots of the whole weekend is her top rope choke slamming Joey Janela through a door, and the bump that Joey took was just like masterful, beautiful. Like, how do you float and then take a bump?
That whole match was awesome to me, and I said this on my show earlier today about Joey Janela matches, but like Joey Janela can have a good match with a fucking broom.
Yeah, he can.
Like there's a reason that he has wrestled invisible people before. Like, and it's the same with why someone can come out of retirement after 5 or 6 years out of the ring and have a good ass match with Joey Janela too.
Yeah.
And like this one too was because I know, like, if you watch JCW a lot, you've seen Sawyer Wreck around and on some GCW shows, but like a lot, this might have been like the first time for a lot of people seeing Sawyer Wreck.
Yeah.
She's 6'2", and like that choke slam. So I'm like, I'm thinking about, I'm doing like the math of like, so the top turnbuckle is about like 4.5 something feet off the.
Yeah.
So like that's like a 10-foot fucking choke slam for
Joey. Yeah. 10 feet.
But like the whole
and bumps fucking hurt, you guys. Like, I know this death match and all this, but like that shit is
that was
not
through a door too.
Fun. Yeah.
But like the whole pace of this match, it was like the whole thing was just like, I kept biting on the near falls. I'm like, okay, he's got her put away, and then she kicks out, and I'm like, oh my god, and then she starts coming back, and then Joey kicks out, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna, this is it's gonna be like a close but no cigar situation.
Yep.
And instead, Sawyer gets the win over Joey Janela here, and I think that was such a fucking awesome move.
Yeah.
Like, if you watched Planet Death from like the collective weekend and saw Sawyer versus Slade, you can get all sorts of good matches out of Sawyer. Death matches, not a death match, the Joey Janela plunder style match, all of it. So like this is, I'm happy. I hope it means we get more Sawyer Wreck in GCW. I think they're onto something there.
Yeah, I'm really liking the trajectory of both her and Masha Slamovich. I think they're both on like they're about to be big superstars coming out of what they're doing here in GCW. And with Joey Janela, I'm really loving the pacing of his matches since the whole AEW, since he's been done with AEW and just like focused on GCW. I'm loving the paces of all his matches. Like the way he spaces out all the spots, the way he like lets everything breathe. I'm really enjoying it. I think he's been doing an incredible job these last couple months. There's a bunch of guys and girls and people in GCW that kind of the last couple of months kind of took shit on their back and just like, took what people would say are failures or whatever you would, apply to getting released from a company and excelled. Joey Janela, Blake Christian, like they've taken what some others would take as a loss and just like excel to the highest heights. And I think Joey Janela specifically, what he's done on both sides of the coin for GCW, like winning and losing, has done so much for the company, and he's doing a great job out there. Honestly,
If you want
I
your
think
flower,
Joey Janela should be the next GCW World Champion. Honestly, so
I would agree with you there. I think that would actually be I think that's a good place to go with the belt.
mm-hmm.
Joey Janela, he wants his flowers, and he rightfully deserves them.
He does.
He gets far too much shit for someone as talented as he is. And if you actually look at his body of work and the matches he's had, I don't know where it comes from.
It's crazy. I watched the match that people were mad at him originally with Leo Rush and CZW, and it's like, this is awesome, you guys. How are you? Why? What? This is cool. They're doing some crazy shit in here, and he continued to do cool and crazy shit, and it was always for like the betterment of pro wrestling and the betterment of GCW and the betterment of wherever he was. It's never just like, I'm a dumb guy trying to get myself over. It's like, no, this is for the wrestling business. This is for the history of what we're doing here. And I'm always going to respect Joey Janela for living his wrestling life like that. So shout out to fucking Joey Janela. Come on to Game Changer Weekly, Joey. Let's talk about how your foot was on fire, man. That show was fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. You want your flowers, you've got them here for sure.
You will definitely. I'll hand them right to you, bro.
Whole fucking garden.
I'm saying, yeah, no. So shout out to all those people in the Scramble matches. AJ Gray retained on both nights. His GCW Extreme title. That's my guy. He should be on here very soon. So, back to deathmatch wrestling.
Wait, real quick, what'd you think of Blake Christian versus Matt Cardona from Cage of Survival?
There's a viral picture that's all I can think about of the guy with the pee. I don't know what that is.
Pretty sure that I'm pretty sure it's beer. I'm pretty sure it's beer because, like, I've seen
so warm though.
Yeah, but I think it's like it's cheaper if I bring my own in this way.
Okay,
you know, like you fill the whole.
He's just like, I'm gonna put
you fill the whole gallon of beer up, and then you don't have to buy beer at the show. I hope it is. I'm saying that. I'm telling myself that because like
it's nasty.
Yeah,
he's an inaugural part of these fucking Atlantic City shows. He's always there with his
Atlantic
City, whatever it is.
He's at the Chicago shows too. See him there. I always recognize him by the jug. I don't even look. I'm just like, oh, it's the jug guy.
Well, I do like the thing that I do like about Matt Cardona, which sounds crazy of me saying out loud, is he cares about pro wrestling a lot, and he let Blake Christian get the one up on his way out. You know what I mean? Like, he let it be like, okay, Blake got it over on us. Like, there's egg on our face, instead of just like, him getting his shit in and leaving. Like, he made it a purpose to be like, Blake is getting me the fuck out of here, which adds on to their little feud. When he comes back, he's right back in the shits. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's got the whole, like, he's got all the, I never lost my spot.
Right.
Blake,
exactly.
Blake cheated, blah, 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 all that shit. So he's got his whole angle for when he comes back set up. Blake Christian, number one contender for the GCW title now. So
Moxley, where's the championship?
Moxley or maybe Tony Deppen. Tony Deppen's got that title shot coming up in a couple weeks, doesn't he?
Yes,
So
that's in New York City, baby. Yeah,
yeah,
hey, I would not be mad one bit if Tony Deppen pulled off that upset. I think it would be cool. Tony Deppen has earned it, like we are talking about earlier. If you want a great match with somebody coming in, put him in with Tony Deppen. If you just want a great match, Tony Deppen is your guy, and he has done it time and time again. Of like sometimes he's not featured on GCW for a couple of weeks or whatever, but then as soon as he comes back, you're like, oh shit, Tony Deppen is incredible.
Tony Deppen forever is going to be like intertwined with GCW.
Yeah.
He's been there since the day GCW was GCW. So like him and Alex Colon are, they've been there just as long as anybody else has, longer probably too.
Right.
So same with Joey Janela too. Like somebody, if you're gonna put the GCW title on, somebody else, if somebody's gonna beat John Moxley, a Tony Deppen or an Alex Colon or a Joey Janela, those are like those would be the perfect kind of people to put it on, because they're people who that title probably actually means something to them.
That's how I feel. Yeah,
just having a belt on them, like that's they're carrying a company that they love and respect.
Exactly.
And would go to bat for any day of the week on their back.
Right. When I wrote an article for Wrestle Talk, the 5 wrestlers that could beat John Moxley for the GCW championship, number 1 was Joey Janela, just because I think like there's nobody in the world who represents GCW more than fucking Joey Janela. But alongside that, there's a bunch of guys who carry that flag so heavy. We talked about Jimmy Lloyd. Like Jimmy Lloyd carries the GCW flag like no one fucking else, man. He is like, this is my company. A guy like him, guy like Jordan Oliver, young super guy, but like he's one that's like GCW, my company. When he talks about GCW on Twitter, he's like, we're not a minor league lower, like we're the major leagues, we're GCW. So there's a bunch of guys I think that could be put in. A bunch of women, Masha Slamovich winning the GCW championship would be fucking awesome. I think.
Can you imagine Masha versus Mox too?
I'm saying
fuck.
like that showdown,
oh, shit, that match
would be crazy, man. That's fucking chaos all over, man. People would love that. And there's a bunch of people that I think are being set up for this. It's interesting now they're announcing more Mox dates though. So it's like,
yeah,
he's got, I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a bunch coming up.
But then he potentially could be the fucking AEW world champion. So it's like, I don't, like.
Yeah. And like, at that, at that point, it's, I don't know. I don't think Tony Khan's letting you borrow John Moxley.
No way.
If anyone's beating him.
No, not in a million years if he's the fucking world champion. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what they do from here on out. He's coming up on the 18th. He's defending his championship against Tony Deppen. So we're going to see where they go with this championship. Blake Christian's in the mix. There's a bunch of other people in the mix. So the GCW title scene's about to heat up here. What did you think about the semifinals? What was your standout performance of the semifinals of the tournament or survival?
Oh, we doing the tournament, or we doing?
Yeah, we back to the tournament.
Oh man, I don't know. Like I like both. Like Segura and Tremont was really,
both matches were super. I see what you're saying.
Like,
it's hard to pick what's like which one, honestly.
I'm gonna lean to Parker and Yamashita because
they both kind of brought that Japanese deathmatch innovation that you were talking about. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I think there was some familiarity with each other. I don't know. I don't think it was a first time matchup, or at least if it was a first time matchup, they know each other. They know each other anyway.
Yeah, right.
They know each other anyway. So like. The way that they set everything up was like, it was a match where you could tell that there was already chemistry.
Right.
So like pacing wise and flow wise. Also, I really like the like funny stuff that Yamashita mixes into her deathmatch wrestling. Like, you can have comedy in a death match.
Like she tricks people in the spots and it's funny.
Yeah. Or like the most ultra violent moment of the weekend where she was just biting his wounded leg. Oh man.
Yeah, she's good at that. You can have comedy in here and it's gonna still be cool because the next spot she's gonna knock your fucking head off. So
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
these
like
two led
biting
into
glass,
the
dude. Ooh.
it led into the finals of this thing, which we talked about a little bit. Drew Parker defeated Matt Tremont in a no rope, barbed wire, scaffold, all kinds of craziness. There's darts in Drew Parker's mouth. Matt Tremont is fucking gushing blood. There's blood everywhere. But Matt Tremont is he will not die. He
No.
won't die.
No, you got to literally push him off of a scaffold and then swanton bomb onto him to put him away. Like,
Yeah.
he's the bulldozer.
He's the fucking bulldozer, man. And like you said, if he would have been the one to pull out the victory, it would have been the same. Like, it would have been great either way.
I think it would have been pandemonium. Tremont's never won tournament, so like for him to win ToS, I still feel like it's got. I don't think this is Matt Tremont's last tournament of survival.
I hope not.
Like, the guy's got to get one. We can't. We can't. Yeah. We can't let him go out like all those guys who faced Jordan in the 90s, where like Alex Colon, Alex Colon and Drew Parker gatekeep Matt Tremont from the tournament of survival wins.
Yeah, we got to get one over for our guy.
Yeah.
He earned this.
Yeah, Matt, like
Deathmatch legend.
Yeah, Matt Tremont. I hope ToS 8 is Matt Tremont's ToS win. But like, again though, like Drew Parker winning it was like, oh, but Matt Tremont would have been so cool for his first time. But then you see what Drew Parker did in round 1 against Cole Radrick and round 2 against Rina Yamashita.
In totality, you're like, damn, he earned it.
Yeah, so for him to have to go through and topple a living legend in Matt Tremont to win that trophy, it just puts that much more.
Someone who this tournament is fucking based off, man. Like, they created, like, part of the reason they created it is what Matt Tremont did, you know. So
yeah, Deathmatch. You can go back through years and years of this tournament, and then even before to like the CZW Tournament of Deaths, and you'll see Matt Tremont's name on that bracket a number of times.
Yep. He's the guy, man. So shout out to him. That was an amazing performance. Even coming out losing, he still had an incredible day. It sounds crazy to say a day. Incredible day of matches, of death matches. So shout out to both those guys. An incredible tournament. A great way to end it off. The dart in the mouth, throw him off. Swanton was just like a crazy way to end this whole thing. Drew Parker got what, you know, he got his flowers, got what he deserved, especially after what happened last weekend. People were scared. Like, people were like, I talked to some people who were in attendance and they were like, yo, it was fucking scary. Like, it wasn't like it was a scary moment in Vegas for him. So for him to come from that to coming back the next weekend, to tearing it all the way down and to winning the whole thing is incredible. Shout out to Drew Parker for his victory, man. That's,
you got to think too, like for all the madness that Drew Parker has been through, like for him to get a cut where they immediately stop the match.
Yeah.
Like, you know, shit's got to be fucked up
after
because,
what
like,
we just saw this weekend. Like, that's how you know. Like, they stopped the whole match, and then the next week he had a dart in his mouth. So like,
and then that's the thing too. It's like it's like whatever made it possible for him to be able to compete in this tournament, because like I would assume this was their original plan from the get-go, was to have Drew Parker win this tournament. So if he suddenly is out like a week before the tournament, you have to restructure your entire bracket. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. So like the fact that the stars all aligned for Drew's injury to not be so severe that it keeps him out of things, and then also for him to just gut it out and go, because that couldn't have felt good. There's no way.
No way.
So
no way.
Again, Deathmatch King, Drew Parker.
Yeah, and then like I talked about a little bit earlier, the next night, the deathmatch shit was not over. This tag match, this fucking tag match, you guys. Please watch this tag match. It was the it's hard for me to
Los Mazizos,
Ciclope and Miedo Extremo.
Yeah.
Against Yamashita and Segura, and everybody, all the regular spots you see in deathmatch, they didn't do any of it. They brought Mexican flair, they brought Japanese flair to this match. I've seen some of the craziest innovative spots I've seen in a long time. Him holding the light tubes on the outside and then getting caught with a crossbody block with the light tubes to the outside, landing on his head. 450 splash onto light tubes. There was blood, a lot of blood, and some more blood. This match, Mike, what the fuck? What the fuck?
This is one where I would say if you're like the kind of person who is a replay skimmer and you just you skip through the replay and you maybe only watch a couple matches, this is like you have to stop and watch this whole match.
Yeah.
Like don't skim through this one, turn it to normal playback speed.
One of the best matches of the whole weekend, honestly, seriously. This fucking tag team death match, man.
It was like the perfect embodiment of just GCW as a whole in one match. You had elements of deathmatch. You had the Japanese style, like this. You had some strong style. You still also had like that. A bit of the funny stuff happening.
Yep.
You had fucking lucha, and it all just came together in this beautiful melting pot of carnage. Apparently, like 4 years they've been trying to get this match.
Wow.
Or specifically, I guess, getting like Ciclope and Miedo Extrema back into GCW. It's been like 4 years.
4 years in the making, and they knocked it out of the fucking park. What a perfect way to come back.
This wasn't even the main event.
It was not the main event.
But this could have been like if there wasn't, a cage of survival match.
If we hadn't been building to this match for a long time, that could have been the main event for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This was like one of the best tag matches I've seen in a good minute. Probably the best tag team death match. Like I don't think I've seen a tag team death match where I was more just blown away by everything. And not out of like violence shock, but just out of like entertainment, like shot, like whoa.
That's how you do a tag team fucking death match right there. Holy shit. I'm still blown the fuck away. I loved everything in this death match. Please watch this tag team death match if you want to grab something from these shows to watch. It's funny that match was right before the main event because the main event was some violence, and they didn't let this match steer away from the craziness that happens in the main event. They were building to this match. They've been building to this match for months and months and months and years and years and years for so long. John Wayne Murdoch has been terrorizing everybody, fans, commentators, ring announcers, anybody who he can be in a room with. And Alex Colon has been like, dude, I'm going to beat your ass when we finally go face to face. I'm gonna fucking hurt you. Just kind of how we talked about Drew Parker, his trajectory, and just like being showing exactly who he is. Alex Colon here showed that he is the fucking deathmatch man when it comes to this shit. He knows how to inflict his kind of violence like no one else. He knows exactly where he's going to hit his spots. He knows exactly what he's going to do to win a fucking match. And here, defeating John Wayne Murdoch, winning the CZW Ultraviolent title, being the undisputed king of fucking deathmatch. This shit was badass.
Yeah, this was they've been. I'm trying to remember the show. I think it might have been the New Year's show was when Colon and John Wayne Murdoch. Yeah, it was. It was the New Year's Eve show. They had their first match, and then Colon, threw all of John Wayne Murdoch's gear and shit into the ring. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Right.
And then they ran it back at the Collective, I think.
Yeah.
So they ran that back at the Collective. John Wayne Murdoch won, took the Ultraviolent Championship off of Alex Colon. This was like a fucking blood feud. Like it was a death match, so it was like going to be a blood feud no matter what. But like this was a blood feud. Like there was anger into this one, and the buildup was, I give indie shows a lot of shit for like when they're too storyline driven because. You're typically running a show every, like maybe once every couple of weeks. It's really hard to keep a storyline going. But the way that these guys have kept it up, like online for the last 6 months, just piling it onto each other. Every chance at every show, even if one of them had a match on a GCW show, the other guy was going to show up somewhere either before it or after it to like try to whoop ass. Like the way they managed to actually keep a 6-month feud going across, maybe only doing, every other weekend or every, having only weekends to work with here.
Right.
Is a really, really good job. And, it is very fitting for this to be the feud that gets GCW's first ever Cage of Survival match, which I'm so happy the concept has finally made it into GCW. I think it's crazy that War Games happened before a Cage of Survival, honestly, when you really think about it. But like, so I guess, I don't know, like there was like a double Cage of Survival in, last year, but the setup for this cage, like the way it was not a fully enclosed cage. Like there was parts of it that were left like suspended and hanging and filled with plates of glass. They had like sections missing, and then they just filled it in with barbed wire. It looked like something that I would put my wrestling figures through. In when I was like 14 or 12 or whatever. And I'm like, that's some of the weird mad science brain of Big Vin too.
How do you come up with a fucking dangerous structure of destruction? It happened here. Immediately chaos ensues. They climb the scaffold. Bodies are just flying. Honestly, it's scary.
Yeah,
it's crazy what they do when there's panes of glass involved and you're taking giant suplexes off the top of scaffolds through the glass, through the ring, and people don't factor in you land on the ring too. Like the ring fucking hurts. So you slam through glass, you slam through a door, you slam through some giant heights. When you go through all that and hit the ring, that shit hurts. So this was crazy. This was so much. This was a lot.
There were some bumps in this where I was just like, oh, I hope they still go after this one.
I'm saying.
They're coming down off the top of the cage early in the match, and John Wayne Murdoch, like it looked like he just slipped and fell.
Right.
So he just dropped off the side of the cage, but then Alex Colon was supposed to go through that stack of shit that was there, so he kind of just let it happen anyway. And that was
violent.
That was like a stacked up. It was like lattices that were positioned to have light tubes going through it, like a wine rack basically, and then it had like a door and a pane on it and everything, and like he went through all of that.
It just
and
sounded wild.
This is one of the first bumps in the match too. Like this, they still had the bulk of the rest of the match to go after this. There was like the backdrop over the ropes onto the cage that was hanging. That thing was absolutely wild.
It's insane that this, like, they used to do like Cage of Death and shit like outside. This is just like inside with all this fucking destruction. And I don't know how tiny the showboat is, but like I could imagine the sounds, the light tube dust, like all the things that are just encompassed inside of this little fucking place, man.
Yeah, the glass is going into like the third, fourth row there. I'm sure. There was the one thing that
you might get glass in your eye, Mike. You gotta fucking wear glasses, dude. It's crazy out here. You could be in the 6th row and like it's not. Usually in the 6th row, you're like, I'm fine. No, it's not fine over here, dude. Careful.
I'd be worried about drinking anything that has an open lid. Seriously. Like I'd be like, am I gonna drink glass today?
No, seriously. No.
But there was a Alex Colon when he hit John Wayne Murdoch with the double stomp off of the top of the cage.
That hurts.
That there's no like what? How
a full human man.
And that was a 1 count. That was the 1 count.
The 1 count. A full human man came down off a high height onto your fucking sternum, bro, and just like
light tubes on your chest.
Yeah. But then after that, he wrapped him up, got the victory. Alex Colon, GCW Ultraviolent champion once again. They embraced afterwards, man. They did it. That was the way to cap it off. To angry deathmatch, man, showing you at the end of a very packed deathmatch weekend that it ain't over, and they did some stuff to show you that it's it's not a lot of people matching up to GCW when it comes to death matches.
No. So like Alex, John Wayne Murdoch is he's the ICW American Deathmatch champion.
Mm-hmm.
I was really kind of hoping they still would have had some heat at the end of this because my like deathmatch fantasy booking pipe dream here is a War Games match with GCW versus ICW.
I see.
That
okay.
I would love
That's a showdown.
I would love like Alex Colon captaining one team and John Wayne Murdoch captaining another, and like they're just like picking their rosters of killers.
I like it.
And you have arguably, I almost want to say arguably like the two top death match promotions in North America for that. Like that would be really cool if that could somehow happen.
I like it.
That is my that was my hope for the end of the match, where because Murdoch did in his one promo mention he's used to wrestling he's not used to being in a ring, he's used to chains. So I thought that was like interesting, that he's mentioning that like in the GCW ring. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that he's bringing ICW up very specifically here prior to this cage match.
Right.
So like I'm hoping it somehow ends up getting there, but like at the same time seeing them finish it respectfully was I think it just felt like a good way to put a nice little bow on the feud.
It did. I agree. Yeah. A great tournament, a great way to end off the show. We can't mention Deathmatch Wrestling this weekend without, of course, mentioning that GCW had some inductees into the Deathmatch Hall of Fame also. Wife Beater, this is really fitting, honestly, because the first time I saw deathmatch wrestling in the current iteration that it was Wife Beater and CZW. Wife Beater and Nick Mondo with the Weed Whacker spot was like something that that's all my life was about for a long time. So to see him get inducted into the GCW Deathmatch Hall of Fame was hella fitting to go along with everything that happened this weekend, because that's how I got into this. So I love that GCW first has a Deathmatch Hall of Fame, because there needs to be an outlet for these guys to get their flowers for what they did. Some people don't like it, some people don't respect it, some people don't blah 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 whatever, but there are a lot that did, there are a lot that do, and there are a lot of people that want to show and pay their respects to deathmatch legends. So for deathmatch legends to get their flowers and get their due in GCW is always awesome. Shout out to Wife Beater, Toby Klein, JC Bailey, Dewey Donovan for being able to be inducted, for paving the way for a lot of years, for being in death matches when no one was watching, when there wasn't pay-per-view broadcasting them, when there wasn't weekends of tournaments that people were celebrating, when they were just fighting in little small places, sometimes outside, for nothing, for nobody. They paid the way for a weekend like tournament of survival. So shout out to them, man. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, and just to build upon the shout out here, shout out to GCW for not just like the Deathmatch Hall of Fame, but also in January they started like they had an independent wrestling Hall of Fame. And like recognizing that's the thing, like the hall, everyone's like, oh, there's you have basically the WWE Hall of Fame, and then you have like these little Hall of Fames that like have been started randomly here and there, but just taking the time to like actually acknowledge the people who've paved the way and like doing it on a nice stage, giving it its own event. Like I like that they put the broadcast for free on the YouTube, so it's not something like everyone can take part in this. It's not like a financially exclusive thing, so no matter your budget, you can actually tune in.
You can support.
You can tune in, support. learn about some people, learn about some of the people who actually paved the way for what you currently are presently enjoying today. And then, you also see a lot of people that, you see a lot of people that you're probably like, oh, I've heard of that person. And you find out a little bit more about them. And you realize all the amazing shit that they've contributed to your current entertainment choices. It just makes it more special.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out to GCW for doing that. A lot of people, these people deserve their flowers. Some people might have never gotten their flowers because they were involved in not the WWE and not involved in the stuff up there. So, seeing people like Homicide, Nick Mondo, and all these great type Lufisto being able to be, given flowers is awesome. So, yeah. Fucking GCW, yo. It was a super busy weekend. There was a lot that we didn't go over because there was a lot, you guys. You got to go through those shows yourself and see every little step. Hop on the Fight TV, get you a combo pack of this weekend. Watch the shows. They were great. Like I said, some people were saying these are some of the best GCW shows of the year. Some people were saying these are the best GCW shows they've had. So you guys need to tune in to this tournament, see exactly what GCW is all about. Coming up, they got a lot of great stuff coming up. Like I said, John Moxley is back in the fucking building. June 18th and 19th. They're in not Chicago. They're in New York City. John Moxley's gonna be there. Providence is the next night. They're gonna be that dream match I was telling you about. Will Ospreay's making his GCW debut against Nick Wayne. GCW is on fire, like I say every time. They haven't had a bad show at minimum 3 years. I haven't seen a bad GCW show. They're on fire every time that they go off, and I'm sure that they have a lot of amazing things that we don't even expect coming. So just enjoy the ride, you guys. It's a good time for independent pro wrestling, and leading the way is the hottest independent pro wrestling in the world, Game Changer Wrestling. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody involved this weekend. Shout out to the wrestlers. Shout out to the crew. The crew. We need to say something about the crew, honestly, Mike. How fast they get this shit put up, how fast they get shit taken out, how fast they work to make another death match happen in 10 seconds after one just happened.
Everybody just getting in that ring, sweeping that, like they're like, it's like the Zamboni in the hockey game.
Yeah, it is.
You get this like crew of dudes with brooms out there, and it's just like they've got the whole shit like a system to it where it's like all the glass out this side, somebody's coming around the outside sweeping it all under the ring.
This wouldn't work if you didn't have that crew. You wouldn't be able to put together a 4-hour show of that many death matches without someone constantly being
Big
in
Vin.
So. Big Vin, man.
Big Vin putting everything, like, constructing all this fuckery and madness, the cage itself, like
hard-working man, Big Vin.
Mad scientist of deathmatch.
So yeah, shout out to everybody involved in this amazing weekend. Keep doing it, man. We're gonna keep watching. This has been Game Changer Weekly. I'm Righteous Reg. You can find me every Saturday on Grab City Podcast and every Tuesday on Game Changer Weekly. RighteousReg.bandcamp.com at Righteous Reg. Mike, let them know where they can find some more great independent wrestling. They know that the two of us, obsess over independent wrestling. So where can they find it with you?
Right there on Twitter at Mr. Purple TV, and then every Tuesday. So also, we're
the Tuesday boys. Let's go.
2-show Mike today. Every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. The Indeed podcast. It's an independent podcast about
get your Tuesdays ready for Mike and Reg. All right, that's what's up.
Yeah. I just I watch a handful of shows every week. I recap them because somebody's got to. There's so much crazy cool indie wrestling happening. Facts. I was like, hey, I'm gonna start a show about it.
Yes.
So Tuesdays 1 p.m. right here, same place you're watching this. I talk about indie wrestling. Going to talk about West Coast Pro next week. It's going to be awesome.
Ooh, I might have West Coast Pro on Friday. Shout out to my homies.
Yeah, I might have a guest for that one too. I don't know. I'm waiting for a DM back on that.
Yeah, we like the sound of it. Indeed, baby. Get all your best. Subscribe to the Bodyslam YouTube page. We need more people involved. We need more things. This is just going to keep growing, keep getting bigger, keep being better. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate everybody for coming. Appreciate Mike for being here. Appreciate GCW for giving us great stuff to talk about. Peace out, y'all. See y'all.